Hello everyone and welcome for the fourth International Magic Club live stream. Tonight we have two world-leading magicians. We have Matthew Garrett and Michael O'Brien making a special lecture for us. Will be special in a few ways. For the first time, for the first moment, it will be 45 minutes of talking about magic between Michael and Matthew. They will talk about linking rings, cards, coin, everything they like, everything they create. It will be an awesome time. After, we'll have half an hour of lecture of Matthew and half an hour of lecture of Michael. Then at the end we'll have a 15-minute Q&A about 15 minutes. So welcome here, and yes, actually 24 people are here. Let's wait just a little. I'm really happy about this. I dropped one again. Up. Good. I just dropped the link again. So thank you for everyone who arrived right now, and to everyone who actually watching the replay, because hi, there is a replay also. Hello. You can skip this part actually to go directly to the talking time. So well, don't waste any more time, and please welcome two of the best linking rings magician. I really love their work. Here is Matthew Garrett and Michael O'Brien. Yay! Woo!
Hello, well, it's great to be here. So thank you very much for inviting us along for the lecture. I hope all of you guys get something useful out of it. We're going to be going through the linking rings, first of all, the Ninja Plus routines, and hopefully you like what you see. The main thing, I think, is it's not a linking rings routine like any other. So many people take one ring, they join them to another, and what we try and show is variety, joining different objects and different techniques. Let's get started right at the very beginning now. With the ninja rings. So I'm going to start you off, and then after I've done a brief performance and explanation, then I'll pass you back to Michael to speak in a little bit more detail. So I think a great way to start is a very basic routine using 4 rings. 1, 2, 3, 4. Links. We get a chain of 4. And the links are very precise. It's not going to join near my hand. It's going to join right here in the open. Right about here. One by one they disconnect. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 rings. Let me just go through the very basic techniques on this. The main move that you need to do this routine is called the crash link. I have the key ring, so if I hold it so you can see, the gap I'm holding very low down. I'm actually holding it beneath my little finger. And what that lets me do is it lets me link the rings without any finger motion at all. A bad technique is to do this. The fingers open and they close as you join the ring around here. A better technique is to keep that gap, just as I showed, beneath the little finger. And now as I hit down, there's no finger motion at all, and it goes straight the way through. Michael, would you like to explain some more?
Yes, so one thing that I've noticed that really sells the crash link. Watch, I'm going to do a proper crash link, and then I'm going to do a crash link the way that I've seen people that might be starting off doing it. So here's what a proper technique looks like. So you see how it looks like the rings just melt right through each other. I'll do that one more time. Now, here's what an improper crash link might look like. So what a lot of people will do is they'll hook and scoop to try to link the rings together. Now, you actually don't want to do that because that creates a hooking motion, which implies that there's some kind of opening here. What you would rather do is just have everything be locked here. So really all that's happening is this is just moving up and down at the elbow. The wrist isn't moving. You also want to keep the fingers nice and loose here. That way you don't have to open and close them. If it's a nice loose grip, it'll allow access. Now, how you hold the left ring or the solid ring kind of really depends on you. I like to hold it with this kind of little hang loose thing, just like this, because what it allows the ring to do is pivot back and forth this way. Because if you watch in super slow motion, all that's happening is you make contact and this ring is flying around just like this. So you're not scooping and hooking. This is just coming down and knocking this ring right out of the way. So those are some tips on the crash link. If you guys have any questions about the crash link, please feel free to reach out to either myself or Matthew. That's the question that I get asked the most, is how can I make my crash link look good? So those basic tips that Matthew and I just gave you should probably improve your crash link an awful lot if you're already struggling with it. But Matthew, why don't you tell us a little bit more about the 4-ring routine and some other tips on how to make the 4-ring routine unique and stand out.
Certainly. Thank you very much, Michael. I'm going to mention one last point on the crash link before we move across. So Michael's shown you the technique here of holding it still in the hand, and this ring moves back slightly and it moves down, avoiding that scooping motion. My technique is slightly different, and you'll see this come into play a lot more with Ninja Plus, where we're linking smaller objects and wider objects. Rather than this ring move back, I instead go for a straight hit down, and I hit here on my little finger. So I'm just going to go straight down and hit here. Let me show you what I mean. So there's that grip here. So in my technique, this ring's not coming back. This base ring is just staying dead still, and I hit here. And you could decide if you want it to link in the middle or at the top. Personally, I like a very small link so it moves through. Anyway, let me speed up a little bit and we'll go on to the rest of the routine. So I start with the 4 rings in my jacket pocket, and everything starts and finishes in the same place. So it's great for walk around magic or for tables as well. The rings come straight out of the pocket, and I have the double, so that's to say the 2 rings permanently joined, followed by the single ring, and then the key. So that's the order that I have them in. The key is the one that's furthest back in my hand here. So I'm going to start with a simple count. My finger goes at the base and I count 1, 2, 3, 4 rings. You don't need to do any complicated moves at all in order to start a routine. Crash link. These are already joined, but watch. I just do that and it looks as if I've linked them. Now I'm going to do an optical move, the key ring's here, and I twist and I link it. So let's see that happen in real time first of all. 1, 2, 3. And now let's slow it down with it exposed. 1, 2, 3. You can do crash links the whole way through. So just another crash link here, they all join. And then I'm going to disconnect the rings. And to do this, I just lift the first one off. So here's the key at the back. I want you to see clearly. I'm just going to lift the first ring up. I'm going to switch 1 for 2. So I'm holding this side by side. So it's probably best to show you from here. I'm going to disconnect the 2 rings and at the same time connect the other one. And then to finish, that same optical move again, I swing round and I disconnect. Back to you, Michael.
All right, so the easiest way to link the double is to do the tap link, which is what Matthew just taught you. Now, I've never been a fan of that link, to be honest with you. So I came up with a way to show 2 solid separate rings, link them just like this. You can show the rings are properly linked, and in fact, the rings can actually be handed out at this point now and examined. So let me walk you through this advanced switch out move. This is a variation on a move created by Kim Silverman, and Shutagawa also has his own variation on this. All I did was just take their ideas and streamline them a little bit and eliminate the need to have the rings in a spectator's hand while you do this, making the switch just a little bit easier. But what you want is the single ring, the single solid ring closest to the thumb, then the double in front, and you want to turn the ring so that it comes up just like this, and it'll get to a point where it's kind of stuck, where you can't twist it anymore. You'll use the crash link just like before, link the rings, and you can show that 2 rings are linked. Now, here comes the switching moment. You're actually going to pass, maybe this way is probably easier to see. You're going to pass the ring, and you're going to disconnect the ring that you just linked. So now you have a single ring closest to your thumb. You have the double ring in the middle, and then the key ring is on the outside. You twist everything down just like this so that you can show that the ring is actually linked, and then all you're going to do is just grip the single ring and the key ring by the fingers here, and using this index finger, I just rotate this out. What that does is that separates the rings this way, and it allows for a nice, beautiful, clean link. These rings can now be passed out and examined, and then you can carry along with your routine as well. Now, I know that Matthew and I are going through these techniques rather quickly. We only have 45 minutes to get through about 12 hours worth of magic. So I highly recommend checking out Matthew Garrett's course in the Linking Rings Close-Up Quick Start, as well as my Ninja Plus Sessions video as well. I go through extreme detail on all this. We'll make sure to have links to where you guys can find all this stuff at the very end. So if you already own your own set of rings, you can get started on this right away. And of course, if you don't own any of these rings, we'll show you guys where you can purchase some of the best and highest quality rings that you'll find on the market today. But at this point, I think I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Matthew so that he can maybe demonstrate a little bit more on the linking rings.
Well, I think we're quickly going to move over to Ninja Plus in a minute. All of the DVD series, so the Quick Start Guide is all about making things easy. It's a follow-along DVD, so you just watch the DVD and you learn as you go along. All of Michael's tuition on Sessions is equally very, very clear and easy to follow. Now, what I've done is change some of the techniques to make them easier. The main concern that people have is that people will see the gap. Well, we've talked about the crash link, how to get around that already. Now, Shutagawa has a very difficult link where you lift up and you crash down. He performs it every time. He's amazing at it. And I see a lot of magicians do this. Ah, I missed. I'll try again. And they keep missing. It's a hard move to do. So what I've done is I've changed the technique. So let's look at what I've changed that move to. Here's what it looks like. It still has that same nice link. And here's how easy it is to do. So the key ring is just here, and I just move my hand downwards, and as soon as the ring passes through the gap, I move my hand back up, and it forms the chain of 3. So what the interest is simplifying techniques, making it a reliable routine that you know you're going to hit the moves for every single time. Well, now we are going to progress. We're going to go on to Ninja Plus, which is something I came up with back in 2006. And since then, it's had 4 volumes. And then after that, Michael O'Brien's Sessions, so loads of material. We're going to take a quick look now at a show reel, which is called Link Anything. So, sat relax.
All right.
Well, to start off talking about Ninja Plus, I'm now going to pass over to Michael O'Brien.
All right, so first of all, this is just an absolute pleasure to talk about. I first saw this years ago, and I instantly fell in love with it. The one issue that I've always had with the linking rings was that moment when you're performing the effect and the spectator says, yeah, but can I see the rings? So I'm just going to do a really quick, basic Ninja Plus routine so you guys can see just how easy this is, and then I'm going to pass it back over to Matthew. So first, we're going to use my wedding ring here, just like this. I'm actually going to go ahead and take my wedding band and pass it straight through a larger hoop, and you can actually see that properly links right on. Not only can I get it to link onto one ring, I can actually get it to hop from one onto another one, just like this. And then, of course, we can disconnect those rings as well. Now, the best moment in this whole routine, you can show the ring comes off, you can show that it goes back on. And then, just when the spectator wants to check everything out, you can hand this out and it can be 100% examined. There's nothing to see, nothing opens, nothing locks. The wedding ring is simply permanently joined to the larger ring. Now this is the Ninja Plus gimmick. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Matthew and let him teach you guys the basics of how this brilliant routine works.
Thank you very much, Michael. Well performed. So, yeah, everything's about making things easy and different. So, I've chained the technique here again. Let me show you a link. That's what it's going to look like. And I can do this in a spectator's hand as well. So I get the spectator to hold out their hand, and I link it in their hand. Now let's just see how easy this technique is. Here's the keyring, and I just press down. And when I press down, it has the effect of making the ring go upwards, and it links. So once again, I just press down in the middle, and it links. So if I start off the routine as Michael was showing you, you can hold it here. I think you did it this way using the crash link technique that we looked at in the last segment. But either way, that's joined. Now, in my pocket here, I have a pencil which is holding a ring in place. So let me show you what I mean. There's a pencil, and I appreciate this is black. It's a little bit hard to see. If I hold it here, there's the base of the clip, and here's the top of the pen. There's a height difference. So what happens is my finger represents my pocket. The ring sits on top here inside my jacket pocket. And what that does is it makes it very easy for me to bring out the ring, and I don't have to look for it. So it's just here inside my pocket, and every time I'm going to be able to find the finger ring. So let's just go back to the beginning. So we go with our link. I take this from my pocket. And now I'm going to switch the rings. This catches, and this one drops. So now the key ring is going into my pocket. The dirty work's done. I can disconnect the ring, join it, and we have the nice moment of passing it out for examination. Now I should point out, this is very, very easy to do. It's not difficult at all. All that's happening is the ring's in my hand, one hand moves up and holds the hoop, and the other hand lets go. It's something that on my dealer stand I let people have a go, because in 2 or 3 minutes everyone gets the hang of this. But it's super visual as well. It's that, and it's out for examination. To take it back off, if I move my hand straight down, you'll notice this ring stays still. But if I move diagonally, it swings, so I can catch it like this. I'm going to move diagonally down and catch the ring. And I just open up the other hand to disconnect. So that disconnect, I move down and catch, and I open up the other hand. So there's the link, and there's the disconnect. Back to you, Michael.
Now, of course, the routine doesn't stop there. Once you have linked the finger ring onto the Chinese ring and handed it out for examination, you can take it back, you can carry on with the routine, and you can sort of make the rings dance. You can link all 3 rings together just like this. You can even have all 3 rings joined right in the middle, creating a locked chain of 3. And then with just one hand, the ring will jump from the top to the bottom, just like this. Now you can hand the other ring out, and that one can be examined as well. Place this ring away into my pocket. And then for the finale, of course, you just take this ring off. And you can continue on doing magic with the ring, or you can put the rings away and you can go into the next piece of magic, cards, coins, whatever you want to do. Now, we're using all the same techniques here. This is all just crash links, right? So I crash link here, right? So I have the key ring on the top, the Ninja Plus gimmick is on the bottom. And then I'm just going to do another crash link again. Yeah, let me try to do that one more time. It's hard to do open. Here we go. I'm going to do another crash link again, right? Linking all 3 rings together. Now, the one-handed move gets amazing reactions, but believe it or not, it's the easiest move in the routine to do. All you're doing is just tilting the key ring up, and the finger ring falls off the key. That's all that's happening. So one more time. Link showing all 3 rings joined. Whoop. And then it falls off. And then you can pass this one out. Now, I throw that little line in there saying you can examine this one as well, because the audience is going to believe that the ring moved from one to the other ring again. So like the rings went back over to the other ring again. So it really creates this nice moment where the audience really feels like everything is being handled, everything has been examined. And then the misdirection is built in because you hand this out, you put the key ring away, and then of course you're fishing now for your finger ring, and you're just going to have that finger ring hiding here. So I like to keep it in the classic palm, and you're going to do the exact same unlinked strike vanish move that Matthew taught you. The only difference this time is that the ring is going to fall out of the classic palm. So vanish the ring off the Ninja Plus gimmick, and then you're just going to let the finger ring drop out of the classic palm. So that's a really nice way. That's just a really quick, easy routine that you can do using Ninja Plus. But again, the thing that I like the most about it is that while you're performing this routine, in the middle of the routine, you can stop, you can have everything examined, and then you can carry on, which solves the problem, I think, the Chinese linking rings, where the spectators know there's got to be a gap, there's got to be a break, there's got to be something. You can close that door, you can hand everything out, and they can examine it. Matthew, do you have any final thoughts on Ninja Plus, at least the gimmick, before we move on to the next bit?
Yeah, I think we've got about 5 more volumes worth of material on Ninja Plus. The great thing with it is you can do so much with it. It really is versatile. So you've seen the routine. Just the last bits I do want to show you is changing the object sizes. So rather than just join one ring to another ring, with that technique that I showed you earlier, so I looked at the crash link technique of moving straight down, just connecting here on a little finger. By using that technique, you'll find that you're able to join really wide objects, which look completely impossible to join, and also very, very small objects. This is a polo mint, or a lifesaver, as I think they call them in America. All that's happening, it doesn't matter that this object is very wide because it's going through the thin side, it's going through here. So as I bring down, there's the gap. The gap's right here, and it's the same technique. My hand just moves straight down and links. So if you use that new technique, you'll find you're able to join a great variety of different objects. The very last thing I'm going to say on Ninja Plus before we move on is I love using flash products with it because it's all metal. There's nothing to harm. It's a very, very safe way of using flash products. So just a very simple start bit for this would be to just put flash string. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to light the flash string, and I'm going to let the ring go from my hand. So from here, I light and I let go, and we get a nice visual appearance of a ring. Anyone can do that instantly. That's very simple to do. And now if we look at the move that Michael did earlier on, so we link here, we crash link again. All of these are very easy to do moves, and I'll use green string this time. I think it might show up a little bit better on the camera. So I'm going to set light to the string, and I'm going to have the finger ring move from one hoop to the other. So it's a way of getting the ring to move from one hoop to the other in a nice way. All I have to do when the flash goes off is I'm going to twist my hand and the ring's going to pass through the gap exactly as Michael showed you earlier. Here's how it looks. And in that instant, the ring has moved. Listen, I think we could carry on Ninja Plus all day. Check out all the different videos. I hope you enjoyed it. And now we're going to go on to Ninja Fusion. And I think we've got a little trailer of this for you to see as well. Well, I should say all of these projects, first of all, are all collaborations. With the Ninja Plus that we've just looked at, I started that back in 2006, as I said, and then since then I've been lucky enough to have Shutagawa work on it with me, Matthew Lamotte, who's won the Magic Circle close-up 3 times, and Michael O'Brien, among many other great performers. Ninja Fusion, myself and Brian Caswell came up with this concept, and really I needed some help progressing the ideas, and that's where Michael O'Brien, Ollie Ward, Tom Brooks, Seong came in to really work this and give it the real magic. The basics, it's a slow fusion. A ball fuses to a large hoop. Michael, could you show us?
So it really is exactly what Matthew said. You're going to take a solid steel ball bearing you could show all around. This could be handed out and it could be examined. And you're going to take a ninja ring. And what's going to happen is very slowly the 2 objects are going to begin to fuse together. Now this almost looks like an optical illusion, so I'll show you. It's not just hiding, the ring isn't just hiding behind the ball. You can see all around on all sides. It really is melting straight through. In fact, you can let go of that. You can show everything. The ball slides around on the ring, and then the best part is that this can be handed out and examined by the spectator. So what you have is a ball that is now permanently fused onto a ring. This does not come off. The spectator can look at it all around. There's no visible marks or anything like that. It's just literally been melted straight through the ring. Now, the thing that I love so much about this is that it's a nice tempo change. So when you're doing the Ninja Plus, right, you're linking rings. The rings are linking like this. You know, they're jumping around. You're going through all of these really quick links and unlinks and things like that. Ninja Plus Fusion is an opportunity to kind of take a deep breath, slow everything down, do a very precise link where you're melting the ball onto the ring, and then this is handed out to the spectator to be examined. As Matthew said, this is a collaborated effort from magicians from all over the world. This slow motion link that I just showed you is my bit that I added to the collaboration. But there are tons of different variations, so many ways that you could think of to melt a ball onto a ring. And so many magicians from all over the world came together and collaborated on this project. This was the first collaboration that Matthew brought me on, and it's been an honor to be a part of this project. This effect is a staple that I perform in pretty much every single event that I do, whether it be close-up or strolling or walk around or even kids' birthday parties. I perform this effect, and you'll see a fun little bit that you can do to combine your fusion and your Ninja Plus gimmick together in just a moment. But first, Matthew, do you have anything else you'd like to add on fusion before we talk about the workings behind it?
Sure. So one thing that I like to add is special effects. So by that I mean the use of flash and smoke. When I showed the clip a second ago, I showed you how with the metal hoop you can use flash string. It's a safe way to use it. Well, here I'm going to just use the lighter, and for the ball, whenever I like, I can have that flash up and then link it on. It just adds a nice little moment, an effect before I do that slow fuse. And when I do the slow fuse, I like to use a smoke gimmick as well. So the same link that Michael looked at. So from here, just a little bit of smoke coming out. I don't know if you can even see that on the camera. I'll try and set up, I'm squeezing it with my arms, try and get some more smoke going through. There we go. There's a good bit. But when I do this fusion now with the smoke, I just find it adds a nice little extra special effect. So it's something you might like to consider. Well, I'm quickly going to explain what the props are, and then I'll pass back across to Michael to go through some of the methods with you as well, so you understand exactly what's involved. And again, it's very easy to do. So you're going to receive a ring, which has got a ball permanently fused on. There's a normal ball bearing. And this is the gimmick that I'm holding right here. And it holds up very well from, yeah, it's probably holds up too well. Let me try and show here. It's got a groove in it. So what you're looking at is a ball bearing that's got a slit cut out around here. So the technique, and also when you get the set, you also get another single hoop in there as well, online instructions and DVD. The ball with a groove, you can do it if you want to pass a ball out for examination, you can do a shuttle pass, and so you've switched it like that. Or you can just start with the ball in the hands. Anyway, I'm talking too much. I think I said I was going to pass back to Michael to go through the basic methods. Sorry, Michael, back to you.
Oh, no, of course. I love watching you do it too. So you can do this little convincer. I actually showed you this where I showed you the ball all around and I spun it. All I'm doing is just petting it on the head like this. The slot that's in the back, you see if we can get a nice good view of the slot gimmick there. The slot is going to be facing me so that the audience can't see it, right? Just like this. So if I show it kind of all around, I'm really just showing around the front parts of the ball, and then when I do this with the finger, really I'm just putting it on the head. Like if I show you the slot, just like this, I'm literally just doing this. Nothing is spinning. But since the ball is solid and chrome and very shiny, you can give the impression that you're showing the ball all around doing this. Now, when you're going to actually fuse the ball on, all I'm doing is hiding the attached ball in my hand just like this. And I'm holding the slot gimmick between the thumb and the middle finger. All I'm doing is just resting the ring on top and rocking it back and forth just like this. Right? Excuse me, I'm holding it between the index and the thumb. I'm sorry. The middle finger is just below, and the middle finger is actually going to push the ball up. Just like this. It's going to move very slightly, so it's hard to see. Let me see if I can get a good view on the camera here. So you see how the ball is moving up to the ring, and all I'm doing with the ring is just rocking back and forth to make it look like it really is melting through the ball, just like this. Now you're going to get to a point where you're going to be stuck. The ball is only going to melt through the ring about halfway. Now if I let go, the ball is going to drop. So what I need to do is flip the ball upside down. Matthew had these cut in such a way that it actually locks onto the rings. You can't twist it all the way around. So what you're going to do is grab the top of the ball over the slot with the thumb, pull up on the ring so that the ring is out of the ball for a moment, and then just rotate the ring downward. But the slot gimmick is going to stay facing the same way. The slot gimmick isn't going to move. Now when I rotate everything back up, now the slot is facing down and the ball will stick. So at speed, that whole bit looks like this. You melt it on, right? I show it this way. I say, look, you can look all around, just like this. And right there is when I did the switch. Now the slot is facing down, and I can let go. Now I can't just hand this out right away, otherwise they'll see that there's a gap there, and obviously the ball isn't attached to the ring. It's just kind of hanging on the ring right now. So I'm going to do the world's most difficult shuttle pass in the hands that you'll ever see. You guys ready for this? Take notes, pause the video if you have to, because this is intense. Here we go. That's all you're going to do. Now, of course, you're going to motivate it a little bit. You're going to say something like this. Notice how the ball melts onto the ring. In fact, would you mind to hold out your hand for me just like this? I'm going to hand you the ring. Now all you're going to do is just take the ball off the ring as you hand this out, right? So one more time in slow motion. So here's the slot gimmick. Would you mind to do me a favor? Can you hold out your hand for me just like this? That's it. Then as you go to pass the ring out, you're just going to take the slot gimmick off, conceal it in your fingers, and then you can hand this out to be examined. Now, after they've examined everything, if you want to take the ball back off again, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can either reattach the slot gimmick again, switch back into the slot gimmick, and then you can take it off by slowly melting it off like this. Or the way that I like to do it is the way that Tom Brooks teaches. You're simply going to hold the solid ball in the finger palm here, and all you're going to do, sort of similar to that strike vanish move with the Ninja Plus that we learned earlier, you're going to let the ball fall into your hand, and then you're just going to grab the ball that's permanently attached to the ring and conceal it again. So at speed, that move would look like this. Right? So very, very easy. This is one of my favorite things to perform whenever I'm performing linking rings. Again, like I said, it's a nice tempo change. You can kind of slow down, perform this piece, and this can be the last thing that you do. Or you can combine it with your Ninja Plus routine, which I think Matthew would like to show you guys in just a moment. But first, Matthew, do you have any other things to add to Fusion?
I think that was a very clear, detailed explanation. Thank you very much, Michael. So yeah, as he was saying at the end there, you can perform Ninja Fusion on its own. It works great on its own, exactly as you've seen Michael do there. With the Ninja rings that we saw at the start, you can perform the 4 rings routine on their own. Or you can start to mix the things together. Rather than just do Ninja Plus on its own, you might think, I'm going to mix it with the Ninja rings or with Fusion. Let me just show you some things with that. And this I call the Mickey Mouse link. So it's just a nice shape, really. It's dead simple to do. All that's happening to create the shape is one link. Here's the key ring at the top. It's just moving once through here. So everything that we're showing kind of can look complicated and flash, but honestly, all of the techniques have been made super, super easy. So here you get Mickey Mouse. Or another thing I like to do is to link it one more time. And I always found this impossible because all 3 hoops join through the ring in the middle. You can do this exact same shape by using a borrowed ring as well. So in a wedding, I would often do this. Borrow the ring, and their ring is attached to all 3 hoops. Now, if I do that with a borrowed ring, I use 2 key rings. This would be another key ring here. So I have 2 key rings. And although you would swear all 3 rings are passing through the finger ring, they're not. This one here, if I lift it up, you can see it's actually just resting on the top. It's not passing through, but it really provides a great illusion. I pull off. If I have a spectator, I have them hold on to the ball and I can just disconnect and move away. If I don't have a spectator, I can unlink like this. So I just come through and that one pulls off. And you can go back onto your normal Ninja Plus routine. So the point to make here is that you can do all of the routines on their own, or of course you can combine them together. We're going to look now at one more show reel, which is was just completed yesterday. It's been made as a sort of COVID show reel, a pass it along routine. So if you're ready with the trailer, we're going to take a look at that now. That's what I love about this. It's a collaboration. You see the number of performers from around the world, and each and every one of those performers has worked on this project. So thank you very much to all of them. You'll have noticed in that clip a couple of other little bits there. A bar blade that linked on. That's the idea of Tom Brooks. And if you saw the showdown video at the beginning, we did the ring and bottle. Michael, could you explain the bar blade and ring and bottle, please?
Yeah, of course, I'd love to. But first, I need my props. So nothing inside the hat, as you can see, just a normal everyday hat. But I do have here, oh, sorry, over here in this pocket, I do have one of these. Now, if you've never seen one of these before, what this is a bottle opener. Of course, it's meant to open a bottle. Now, the bar blade routine, as Matthew said, was created by Tom Brooks. This is a really cool linking ring routine that you can do using a bottle opener. And we're going to use all of the same exact techniques that we've already learned, just crash link moves. But the cool thing about this routine is that you have a very cool moment where you can actually have the ring link through with the bar blade blocking it. So let me just turn it, you guys can see there. So there's actually nowhere for this to go. There's no gaps or breaks to speak of. And then you can carry on with the routine, take the bar blade off, and you're good to go. So let me walk you guys through that just very quickly. Sorry, let me grab my chair one more time here. There we go. So the bar blade itself, the one that you're going to use, has to have a notch cut out. It doesn't matter what shape this notch is. It just can't be a perfect circle. This is a 7-inch bar blade. If this is a perfect circle and you're using 4.5 inch linking rings like the ones that I'm using here, it won't fit. If your linking ring is a little bit larger, it might, but just know that you might need this notch cut out to be able to do some of the moves. Now we're just doing the crash link, the same that we've done before, right? But I like this moment here because you show that the ring is passing through this long bit of metal here, but in reality, that looks really cool, right? But in reality, all that's happening is the gap is just going through the thin part and then coming back in here. Kind of like how Matthew showed you when he was linking that large bangle bracelet. And then, of course, you can link the bar blade through to both sides. Now, what this does is this allows you to have this bit here examined by the spectator. So what I like to say is there's no gaps here. There's no gaps here. And then you're going to perform a crash link. Now, this is a blocked crash link, but the technique is going to be the same. All that's going to happen is you're going to crash down here. The bar blade is going to lift up to make a little gap. The ring is going to go through, and then the bar blade is going to fall back down just like this. So that's what happens. Let's do it one more time at speed so you guys can see it at full speed here. Just like this. Now to unlink everything, you're going to do that exact same basic unlink that Matthew taught you at the beginning with the linking rings close-up. You're just going to pass the gap through both the bar blade and the single ring and just rotate everything down this way. Now, my fingers down here are holding the ring, but it looks like all three items are joined. At this point, all I do is just pretend to unlink the ring at the bottom, take the bar blade through the top, and then disconnect everything. I teach this routine in detail on my sessions video, so if you guys haven't checked out my sessions video, I recommend you doing that. If you like this routine, this is another one of those routines that gets amazing reactions. And a lot of times when I'm performing and I do a bottle production to introduce the bar blade, a lot of people ask me, well, what are you going to do with the bottle, right? Can you do anything with the bottle too? Does the ring go inside the bottle? So let me show you guys this. Okay, let me get my rings here. So what you'll do is you'll show, and you can have this examined. This could be handed out, right? They can examine this. The ring does not fit inside the bottle, right? And you can do standard linking ring moves with this as well. Like you can link this on. Sorry, let me do that one more time. Whoop, third time's a charm. There we go. We can link that on just like this using the crash link that we've already learned. Now here's the really cool thing now. You can carry on with your Ninja Plus routine the way that you're normally used to doing, right? And then, remember, this doesn't pass through. They've already examined this. But watch. Nothing extra here. Can you guys see the ring? The ring is actually inside of the bottle. And you can show the ring. I don't know if you guys can see it. Yes, we can. It's actually inside there, right? And even if I stick my finger in there, it's almost impossible to get it out. Now, of course, if you're a magician, it's not a problem, right? So the way that this works, there's a really brilliant move. Matthew, do you mind if I teach this move, or did you want to show the switch out move here?
I'm happy for you to carry on. Go for it, Michael. All
right, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find a bottle that works with this. Okay, now I'm using here a bottle with a rather wide mouth, and I have 2 rings. Now what I've done is I've found one ring that is too big no matter what they do. So this ring is a larger sized ring that does not fit inside the bottle here. Okay, no matter what they do. The other ring is slightly smaller, and it does not fit if I put it in this way. But if I put it in sideways like this, it will fall into the bottle, right? So you're going to have to kind of experiment with this, and you're going to have to figure out what bottle size works best for you, as well as what ring sizes work best for you. Now, Matthew, Garrett, and I have already packaged this together. So if you guys don't want to have to go do that, if you guys don't want to have to go find a bottle and rings that all match, we've already packaged this up with a bar blade, a linking ring, a bottle, and the rings that are perfectly sized to this. So if you guys like this idea and like this routine and want to perform this, it's already pre-packaged for you. Or if you want, you can experiment on your own and you can go find the individual bits as well. There's a ton of work on this already. There's a video that teaches you. It's like over an hour of footage on this. But let me just show you the basic switch out move here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce the large finger ring that doesn't fit into the bottle. I'm going to have that pass out for examination. I'm then going to have the smaller ring concealed in finger palm. And I'm literally going to do the switch out move that we already learned at the beginning, right? I'm going to move the gap up to the top so that I don't accidentally drop the ring. So the gap is all the way up here at the top. And I'm going to do the strike vanish production that we talked about earlier. I'm just going to vanish this and produce the finger ring out of the classic palm at the same time. This can go into the pocket. And now I'm set up to be able to push the ring into the bottle. The ring, let me try that one more time. The ring will not fall out as long as it is facing vertically, right? So I can tap this like this and the ring won't fall out. You can show the ring inside and everything. The ring will only fall out when I've turned it horizontally or perpendicular to the mouth of the bottle, in which case I can just let it fall on my finger and I can take it out this way. What I like to do is show that the ring is stuck and I pretend like I can't get it out. And then I hand the bottle off to a spectator, and then when they go to look inside, the ring has already jumped back onto my finger at that point. What you can also do is perform this in the middle or at the end of a Ninja Plus routine, right? So let's just say you've already been doing your Ninja Plus routine. Same thing. They've examined the Ninja Plus gimmick. You're going to do your strike unlink, and now you've switched it into the ring that will fit through the bottle, and now you can do your ring through bottle. Or you could put the ring and bottle in the middle of the routine, pass the ring through the bottle, take it out, link it back on here, and now you can carry along with your Ninja Plus routine. So you can do some really cool bottle links, just like this, and you can carry right along doing your Ninja Plus routine. So there's a lot of really cool things you can do just using this ring and bottle idea. You introduce the bar blade, maybe you're wearing a bangle, maybe you borrow an object from a spectator. This is where the link anything premise really comes into play, and it makes everything feel like it's different. I mean, a spectator can only watch you link and unlink objects so many times before it kind of starts to get a little repetitive. But when you're mixing all these different objects in and you're borrowing objects from the spectator and you're using finger rings, so if you already know some coin magic, you can do some really cool coin vanishes and things like that, making the ring vanish and reappear. Incorporate all of those ideas when you're doing this, and people will tell you, I've heard this so many times, and I know Matthew has heard this so many times. People have told me, I hate the Chinese linking rings, but I loved that. In fact, that was probably the best linking ring routine I've ever seen. And it's not very difficult to do. It's just taking those core principles and those core ideas that you've learned and kind of using your imagination and taking all these different objects and kind of combining them together. So I'm going to pass it over to Matthew one more time. Matthew, do you have any final thoughts on anything that we've talked about when it comes to the linking rings?
Thank you very much, Michael. Well, look, let me show you. So the DVDs, we really have just got started on the topic. I started off with volume 1 and 2. And on the back, there are tons and tons of different moves. You've got moves for restaurant situation with flash products, links on the heads. You've got the work with Shutagawa on here. And again, it goes into a lot of borrowed objects and his own take on it. Everyone who knows Shutagawa know his techniques. They're very, very precise. He's intent on keeping the framing very small so the audience can concentrate on the magic happening right here. And with Matt Lamotte on here. So this is all of the volumes 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this is a really, really detailed look about the rings. It's got all of the links and lots more. I asked Michael to condense all of the material down into one DVD, and he's put his routines on here as well. So this is Ninja Sessions. So there's lots and lots of different material on the rings and a quick start guide that we looked at earlier on. Right at the very beginning, I know that a lot of people hadn't joined at that moment. We showed a fun video that Michael and I did together, which we called the Showdown. So just to finish this segment on the Ninja Plus and the Ninja Rings, we're going to look at that right now.
Hello, so actually is the end of the first part of the stream, the discussion part between Michael and Matthew. It was very awesome. I really loved the part with the linking rings and the rings, just the little rings. It was so awesome. Actually, we're going to start the second part of the streaming, the lecture part. So actually, I saw Matthew with strange thing inside his hand. So funny. So please welcome Matthew Garrett, please.
I'm going to start by showing you a jumbo fan and how I make these. It's something that is great for stage magic. You can use it in close-up as well. It's particularly nice for photographs. So if you do want to have that moment of, it could be yourself holding a fan, which I guess people think now is a little bit stereotypical magician holding a fan of cards. But this, because it holds itself, you can pass to someone else if you want to get a spectator holding a nice fan in their hands. But it's something I love. So there's left-handed ones and right-handed ones. So they're like this. And when I do a stage manipulation act, I actually form one fan normally. So let me just get some cards. Excuse me, just reaching out the way for a second there. So if I form one double fan normally, so it's a little pharaoh shuffle. It certainly doesn't need to be precise, but I can get one fan formed this way. And then I take my other one, then you've got two double-tiered fans, one formed fairly and the other one performed with a gimmick. At this point, this I just close and drop, I discard that, and this one, little flourishes. So let's have a look at the fan. So great for photo moments or to use as part of your act. Probably the best way to describe what this is for those people that know the 8-way color changing fan. It's a product which is sold in a lot of magic dealerships, and it's you can fan it in different directions. I wanted one that was out of bicycle cards, and I've got them in red and blue and all sorts of designs, fanning cards, and yeah. So you can use your imagination. So here's how they're made, and I need to thank Mike Hill for this as well, from Norway, who's shown me the technique of being able to make these. So thank you very much to him, and also to David Tompkins, who made up my very first prototype one of these. So what it is you start off by taping cards in pairs like this, and it's just sellotape. There's just a small piece of sellotape placed on one side, turn it over, and a small piece of sellotape on the other side. And you do the same right the way through your deck. You don't have to use a full deck. Personally, I like to because I feel it gives a nice full fan. Then the next thing I use is one of these, and it's a special type of hole punch. It's a hole punch that's used to put holes in leather, and it's ideal for doing this nice and quick. I punch a hole in the base of the card, so there's a hole going in right here. There we go. And I'm going to try and hold it against the black in the hope. There we go. I think you can see here where the hole has been punched through. You do that through every single card in the pack. Now the other side, so the other card, so the hole's this side here, and on the other card in the center, I make a thinner hole. I'm just going to twist this around. That gives me the smaller hole punch. And I punch a hole in the center of this card like this. There we go. And that's it. That's what you do through the whole pack. I'll hold it against the black. So in the center of the heart, there's a little hole here, and there's a little hole in the other heart down here. Once you've done that through the whole pack, you then put, this is the large end, this is where the large hole goes. You run like a rope, any thick thread, wants to be something strong that's not going to break. I've stuck it down on this side, it's run through, and I've stuck it down on this side. And I've used super glue to do that. You can use gaffer tape, but I like to make sure it's really firmly in place. You stick a normal card to the top and a normal card in the bottom using super glue. And for the rest of the deck, it's got a thread running through it. So if I just separate it slightly like this, there's a thread that runs through. So where you've got the small hole, you just put a needle and thread, and you go all the way through every single one, space them out to the right position. When they're in the right position, I've just got a little bit of gaffer tape to hold it in place. So that's what they are, but I hope you'll agree, it's something that, so this is a left-handed one, it's something that people can use whether they're on the stage or for close-up. I hope it's something that you will find useful. I do have these for sale, but I want you to know exactly how to make them, so if you've got any questions on that or need any help with it, please do let me know. Right, so now I'm going to move forwards, and I'm going to go on to a story deck routine. Now, the first thing I'm going to say right off the bat is you must watch Bill Malone perform Sam the Bellhop. Absolutely amazing guy. A very American routine. Now, the reason I say that is I wanted something that was different. So I used a story which is based on an old English story called Monty the Spiv. Before that, it was called Tooey the Barman, and it's got a long history here in England. It goes back, I couldn't actually tell you how far back Sam the Bellhop goes, but I know Monty the Spiv certainly goes back a couple of generations. Fred Lowe and Harry Stanley are English names behind it. So I'm going to show you a little clip now of the English routine of the story deck, and then I'm going to go into a few differences and a few things that you might like to add into your own story deck routines. So we've got a show trailer, so let's take a look at that now.
You both like card tricks? Yes. I was kind of hoping you might say yes, I've got to be honest. No expense spared. We're going to go with a brand new pack of cards today, brand new out of the box. A normal pack of cards, of course, starts in a set order. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and tell you a story today using the cards. I'm going to get rid of the Joker, and I'm going to get rid of those guarantee cards that you get in the packs as well. And we'll go with a little mix up of the cards as well to get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find the Joker. If I do cut to the Joker, would you do me a favour? Would you just say, wow? I'm not a modest man. If I find the Joker, you've got to do that first. You've got to say the word wow. Okay. One more cut should do the trick.
Wow.
It's not a sarcastic thing. This guy's an expert at cards. He's particularly good at one card game called 5 Card Stud. Would you just give that breath just below? 5 Card Stud was the game he was good at. I sat and I watched him play this game, and he won the game 4 times in a row. Now the Joker, you're probably wondering about him. The Joker goes back off into the pack, so the Joker really does go off. And he goes into the pack about halfway down. Goes down the street, carries on down the road, until eventually he gets to a casino. He loves cards, so he goes inside. He goes up a flight of stairs, along a corridor, up another flight of stairs. Now I've got to be honest, I wasn't very happy with that wow, but I'm prepared to work for it. So this time, I'm going to spin a card out the pack. It's going to do 14 somersaults high in the air. You're in charge of counting. I'll catch the card on the way back down. That card is going to be the Joker. And if it is, you're going to say, wow. That's more like it. And you guys can clap as well. Because if I drop all the cards on the floor, I'm going to have to run as fast as I can out the door over there. Let's try 14 somersaults. Let's have a warm-up first. Wow. It is the Joker! Woo! One's that 1, 2, 3, 4 people with him. They're all called Jack. I said, do you reckon you could get some more people to go along to play cards? He said, sure I could. So what's going to happen now is we're going to see if we can find 4 gentlemen to play cards as well. Hopefully, we should have the 4 kings. 1, 2, 3, 4 kings. I asked him where he got these people from. He got them from a club which is called the 468 Club. If I ask you the name of the club, you're going to have to tell me it was the 468 Club. What was the name of the club?
468 Club.
The 468. I said, that's great, look, have a couple of quid for going. Now I'm running a little bit lower on the cards each time as we go through. You'll notice each time I've got less and less cards in my hand. He was supposed to get some ladies to go to the party as well, but he let me down really badly. All he did was he showed up with 4 queens. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. I asked him where he got them from. He got them from a club. What was the name of the club? The club was called the? Hopefully the 468 Club. I said, that's great, look, have a couple of quid for going. Now we've got all of the guests, of course, to go along. We've got all of the ladies, we've got all of the gentlemen. It's time for refreshments. He got 4 fine bottles of wine shown to us by the 4 aces. 1, 2, 3, 4. I said, that's great, have a couple of quid for going. Not only that, 10, 20, 30, 40 bottles of beer to take to the party as well. I asked this chap how old he was. Now I'm going to ask you to give me an age, and whatever age you say, I will find using the cards. For example, if you said 47, I'd have to find the 4 and I'd have to find the 7. How old would you like him to be?
37.
37. So it'll click like that. Hopefully the 3 jumps to the top like that. 37, you said. The 7 of diamonds is just sneaking around there like that. 3 and a 7. 37. Ah, thank you. Wasn't 37 at all. Give me a different age. Any age that you like. 46. I'm going to cut to the 4. Round about there. Oh, I've got the 6 to find yet. Don't clap too early. It might go horribly wrong. Wave your hand over the top. And the 6 should jump to the top. I'm just going to go for it. The cards are mixed up. I mean, normal card tricks, you find 1 card. I'm going to try and find all of them. I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to try and name the cards. This guy was, and I'll tell the story too. This guy was 26. There's another guy that was 35. And he was married, he had 8, no it wasn't 8, it was 7 children, that's 3 boys and 4 girls. It was getting late to about 5 o'clock, so I said we must go down to the 77s Club and have a good game of cards. Went down to the 77s Club and all the money was lying there on the table. It was the biggest hand of the night. My friend had a fantastic hand. He had a full house, he had a pair of 3s, and he had 3 cards the same as well. He had 3 9s. But there was no way he was ever going to beat this guy right here, because he had a straight flush. He had 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 of them. Well, thank you very much for watching. Just before I leave you, just right then, he reached over to grab the pot, and I said, you hold it there just 1 second. You just take the £2 tip for going, because I have got a better hand still. I had got the 10, the Jack, the Queen, the King, 1 left to go, and the Ace of Spades winning the game. And that is the story. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you as well, and have a great week.
Well, thank you for watching. So the first thing, it's differences in story decks, things that you can do to make the routines a bit different. And the first idea I had was this. Now, I don't know how this is going to show on a camera, but I want you to see, yeah, you can just, what I'm showing anyway is a deck of cards in order. And then from that, you can discard the Joker and the guarantee cards. So those will look like this. And now I'm left with my deck of cards, which is in set deck order. So the idea here is based on something that Daryl had, which was called the Deland cards. And it's 2 gimmick cards, which are on the back of guarantee cards. I'm going to come nearer to the camera to try and show this as clear as I can. So these are guarantee cards, but on the other side, they're designed to show a deck of cards. The Deland card is used for a card force, but this is a new deck order. And all I was showing at the start was 3 cards like this, but it really gives the impression.
A little bit closer, please, from the camera.
Say that once again.
Yeah, just make it a little closer, because it's
a little closer like that. Is that? I know the lights.
Yes. Oh, yes. Actually, we see it.
Okay. So there we go. And it just is 3 cards. So from the back, I'm just holding 3 cards. There's 2 guarantee cards and 1 bicycle card, and that's creating that effect. So at the start of any set deck routine, or if you're using a gimmicked pack, you can take the cards out of a new box. It looks like you're holding a brand new pack of cards, as you should. You close the deck up, and then you get rid of the 2 guarantee cards, and then you're left ready to perform your normal routine. So that's the first thing that I like to use at the beginning of a story deck routine. It's a way of making people think, normal pack of cards, they're seeing exactly what they get. Now, the full shuffle I use at the start, I think any routine you need to put false cuts and full shuffles, and they can be whichever ones that you know. I use a push through shuffle, so I'll show you what that looks like first of all. I hope if I go this way, that's better on the camera there. So let me just show it with half face up and half face down. It's a completely full shuffle. And I'm sure some of you will be used to this move already. I do the push through version. You can just do a strip out shuffle, and I'll explain the difference in those in a minute. So I start my riffle shuffle, and I finish my riffle shuffle with my left hand. So this pile here, this face up pile, both started and finished the cards on the table. I haven't got the cards straight. They're actually in sort of a V shape, so that when I pull them together like this, there we go. So I'm just going to lift this up. I might lose my shuffle doing this, but I want you to see the position. So they're not square is the point. They're sitting at an angle. And I can push the cards through. And now I'm going to bring it back up to try and get you guys to see clearly. There we go. I can strip the cards out now. So what's happening is all of the face-up cards are over here. All of the face-down cards are here. Let's get really close. And as I pull it out, it makes a false shuffle. So I think with any routine, that's an important thing to do. Now, I'm not extensively going to go through the routine. For me, it's a chance to get my personality into a routine and to control applause when I do the whole bit with the cards spinning in the air and catching it. If I've got a gentle function, I can just ask for applause. But if I want, I can make that moment very big. As I catch the card, you guys are going to clap, you're going to stamp your feet, you're going to cheer, and it's really a moment that can be built up. It's a fun routine, and for me, I think that's what story decks are all about. The very last thing I want to go through on this was guessing the age. I get to a point where I ask them to say how old this guy is, and I find the age using the cards. So let me show you that now and how it works. So these cards would have already gone down on the table, and I ask an audience member for any age. Is it possible for you guys just give me an age? How old do you think he is?
I don't know. 35. 35.
So I'm going to find the 3, first of all. There is the 3 of hearts. 35. Now, the way this works is, for me, it was always a nice point in the routine because it creates the impression I can find any card that I like. And it's actually very simple to do because on the base of the pack, I have the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of diamonds. So I can thumb count down very easily to find any one of those numbers. And on the top of the pack, I've got all of the rest of the numbers right near the top. So I can use a thumb count down from the top to find the other numbers. So my order is going 2, 6, 3, 5, 8, 7, 3, 4. And I never need to go further down that. But for me, it's a nice moment in the routine where they give me an age and I instantly find the cards that they're asking me to. I'm going to pass back, because I know that we're on time constraints. The last thing I want to do is just very quickly show the card manipulation bit in the middle. For anyone that's interested, there's lots of different material on card manipulation. My favourite by far was the Jeff McBride series, The Art of Card Manipulation. So if you are starting to learn things like that, do take a look at his series. It's an older series. It was originally out in BSH tape, and now it's out on DVD, of course. Very, very clear instructions. I use in the middle of the routine, or at the end, I think, on a clip you sure. Production of cards like this. And why I like this is because it's clean enough to be able to do in close-up. So all of this, I perform. I have to move my chair just a second. There we go. I'm not sure if it flashed a little bit at the end. I apologise if it did. But the 4 cards, very easy to do in a close-up situation. The rotating, here's what it looks like. Just a standard card productions. It's not something I can say isn't difficult. It's going to take you time to learn. You're really trying to build up strength on your little finger. But for anyone learning cards, stick with this. I think it's good. This is a normal production, so a Cardini single. Take the card. Now I do a block production, and I'm going to catch the cards down the other end, like this. It's another Cardini single. And now from here, I've got 2 cards here, and I'm going to bring them forwards as one. So here's what it looks like from the spectator's viewpoint. It looks like I'm showing the card, but I actually have 2 cards here. From the front, the Cardini moves looks like this, but from the back, it looks here. And I'll show you one last little technique that I like, which is this. It's simple to do. The hands come together. The card is all the time hidden around the back. So let me show you from the back. If you've never done card manipulation before, try this now. You'll be able to do it. I take a card and I'm going to place it behind the back of my hand. The other hand comes forwards. Up. Down. So you see that the card doesn't actually move, but it looks like you're showing. So from the spectator's viewpoint, it really does look like you're showing the hands completely empty. And at the end, I do a little fingertip production like this. Listen, I hope you've enjoyed the bits on the story deck there. I say it's called Monty the Spiv, and the point to this is, you might have seen Sam the Bellhop, the American version, but if you live in a different nation, why not have something that's more suited? In England, we don't have the 468th Street, and we don't have a bellhop. So it's just something that tends to fit a little bit better over here. Thank you very much for your time watching, and I'm now going to pass back across because I know Michael's got a lot more stuff to teach you.
There we are. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Very good. Okay, cool. First of all, Matthew, thank you so much for doing this with me. This was awesome. I love Monty the Spiv. Again, if you don't want to use that story deck presentation exactly, like for me, I'm American. I'm probably 99% of the time going to do Sam the Bellhop, the Bill Malone routine. But the thing that I love about it is that you can use a lot of the little subtleties and things that Matthew uses in that routine, and you can use them in Sam the Bellhop as well. So like at the very end of Sam the Bellhop, there's 3 people playing cards. One person has, you know, a full house. One person has I don't remember what the other hand was. I think a full house of a better hand. And then the third person had a royal flush. Well, you can do the back palm production and produce the royal flush at the very end. You know, so there's a lot of cool things you can do with it. I also want to teach cards in my my segment here, but I wanted to show you guys something that I have been using pretty much since I've started doing strolling magic. I needed a way to very effectively switch one packet of cards for another, or in many cases even switch one full deck for another, whether it be switching a standard pack for a gimmicked pack, or switching a deck that is been shuffled into a deck that's in new deck order, etc. So I wanted to show you guys a video clip of my recent Penguin Live lecture that I did, where I used this deck switch, and feel free to watch this video and see if you guys can tell the exact moment that the deck switch happens. So if you don't mind, we're going to go ahead and roll the mini deck performance.
Raise your hand if you are a fan of card magic. Anyone here a fan of card magic? A couple of people, a couple of people. Some people like card tricks, some people don't. It's okay. Right? Can I do just a little card trick? Okay. Just a little card trick. In fact, who here plays cards? Anybody? A couple people. Right over here. You want to help me? Yeah, come on up, come on up. What is your name?
Katie.
Katie? Katie, very nice to meet you. Katie, can you go ahead and stand right here? Go ahead and open up the miniature deck of cards. Or should I say the box of the miniature deck of cards. Remove the miniature deck of cards from the box. Perfect. I'll take the box back. Go ahead and examine the miniature deck of cards. Make sure it's completely ordinary in every single way. Except for the fact that they're tiny. Go ahead and give the miniature deck of cards a little mini shuffle. Any way that you know how. Very nice, very nice. Perfect. Now, I'm going to actually need, you're going to help me with this, but I'm going to need a few people to choose cards. You can stay seated. I'm just going to come to you, okay? I'll take the deck back. Thank you so much. And let's see, I'll just get a few people. Would you mind to take out a card? Perfect. Keep it tight to your chest so I don't see it just yet. Would you mind to take out a card? Very nice, thank you. And would you mind to take out a card? Digging deep, huh? Very good. You don't trust me. It's like I don't trust myself either. And would you mind to take out a card? Perfect. Now, I don't want to see what your cards are, so I'm going to turn away. But go ahead and look at your card, and if you want, you can show it to the rest of the audience. Let me know once you've done that. Good? All right, here I come. I'm going to come back. I'm going to take your cards, so have it face down so I don't see it, okay? You've been warned. Here I go. And would you mind to put your card back, please? Perfect. And who else has a card? There you go. Go ahead and put your card back. Perfect. And who else has a card? Thank you so much. Go ahead and put your card back. Right there. Perfect. Can you get it in there? There you go. Perfect. And was that it? Is that all the cards? All the cards are back in? So we have all these miniature cards. Actually, it's kind of hard. Is it easy to see from the back? I know the cards are so small. Here, hold on. Let me... There we go. I'll make it easier for you guys to see. And I'm so sorry. What was your name one more time?
Katie.
Katie. That's so nice to meet you again, Katie. Thank you. Sorry, I have the memory of a goldfish. So, Katie, I'm going to snap the deck. And when I do, raise your hand if you chose a card. 1, 2, 3, 4 cards are going to pop out of the deck. You ready? Are you ready? Let's try that one more time. There's 2. Would you mind to hold on to those, please? There's another one. Was there 4 cards? That last, there it is. There's the troublemaker. Go ahead, and if you chose a card, can you please stand up? Please stand up. Well, the real Slim Shady. Please stand up. Go ahead and look at the faces of the cards. Can you name them one at a time? If you hear your card, please have a seat.
King of Diamonds.
King of Diamonds.
2 of Clubs.
2 of Clubs.
5 of Diamonds.
5 of Diamonds.
2 of Hearts.
2 of Hearts. 4 for 4. Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so did you guys see the deck switch happen? What I did was I used a tool that I created called the Switcheroo Deck Holdout. Now, this is not to be confused with Mark Mason's Switcheroo. This is the Switcheroo Deck Holdout, which is designed to switch an entire deck of cards. Now, all this is a leather holdout with a little clip on it that clips onto your back pocket. Now, for the longest time, what I did was I just took a card box, and you cut the card box in half. You throw the top half away, and you just get a clip. Any clip you could find at a hardware store, or you can go into your garage right now and you can find a tape deck, like a tape measurer, and you can take that clip off and you can just like duct tape it to the box. It'll look super ugly, but the audience is never going to see it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And that's a really quick do-it-yourself version that you can make at home. Now, the reason that I stopped doing that was because I perform this deck switch quite often, and I would have to remake the holdout like every month or so, and it was just getting irritating. So what I did was I went to a really good friend of mine, and I had him made me one out of leather, and he produces these for me now. So these are available for sale on my website. If you buy the Switcheroo Deck Holdout Pro, you get the leather holdout as well as access to the bonus links, which teach you a bunch of different techniques and switches and things using it. And you're also going to get full-length routines, including the mini deck routine that you just saw. You can also learn the mini deck routine, obviously, by purchasing the Penguin Live Act, which I performed that routine for in the video that you just watched. But let's go ahead and look at the holdout and see what it's all about and how the switch works. So what happens is, let me reposition here. What happens is the deck is going to sit in the holdout just like this. And this whole unit here is going to go inside the pocket, and the clip is just going to clip to the outside of the pocket. Right? So just like this. And then the clip is going to clip on the outside of the pocket this way. Right? So you have the whole deck there. And then, of course, the jacket just covers that. So now I can do this strolling. I can be moving around, right? Let me reposition the camera here. And the warm deck, or the deck that's in your hand, will have the red deck represent the warm deck, and the black deck will represent the cold deck, or the deck that's sitting inside the holdout. There's different ways to do this. Now, I'm going to show you the switch, the two switches that I use the most often. The first switch is the one that I used in the mini deck performance that we just saw. And then the other switch I'm going to show you is my other favorite switch to use. So, of course, I had the mini cards out, and I switched the mini deck for the regular sized deck. And the way that I did that was, after I had everyone choose the cards from the mini deck, all I did was I just turned my body away, and I put my hand up like this, and all I said was, show everyone the cards, I don't want to look. So that's the misdirection that I need to be able to do the switch. Now the switch itself is super simple. All I'm doing is coming up and underneath my coat, just like this. Dishing the warm deck into my pocket, and then reaching back and stealing the cold deck out. So it takes just less than a second. And this is all done while I have my hand up like this. And then I can come back up, and now I have switched out the deck of cards. So what you could do, let's just say you wanted to have a card chosen from a regular deck of cards, and then you wanted to switch it into a one-way forcing deck, right? Or vice versa, I'm sorry. You have a one-way forcing deck and you want to switch it into a regular deck. So what you would do is you would have the cards spread out, right? Let's just say every single card in the deck is the 3 of hearts. You'd have the cards spread out. You'd have a spectator choose a random card. And then you would say, show the card to everybody. I don't want to see it. Of course, you already know it's the 3 of hearts because you forced it. And at that moment, you're going to do the switch. So it's super easy, super quick. You don't have to worry about having a card case on the table. You don't have to worry about introducing some weird prop that's going to do the deck switch for you. So like some of you guys might be using the cooler or the cold case or some other similar deck switching utility. The thing that I love about this method is that you don't have to introduce anything. And you can do this strolling if you really wanted to. So like let's just say you're doing some stacked work, you're using a mnemonica stack, and you want to be able to switch into a regular deck so that maybe you can do something else and not have to worry about putting the deck back in order at the end. Like maybe you want to have the cards handed out and shuffled or whatever. You can use this deck switch to do that. The other deck switch that I like to do is one where I have a table. I'll usually use the second deck switch if I'm performing at a restaurant, and this will come at the very end of a routine. Like, let's just say I wanted to switch for a blank deck or a blue deck with a red cover card so that I can do a color-changing deck type thing or something like that. What I would do is I would place the selected card on the table, and then when the big reveal comes and all the attention is on the selected card, all I have to do is just casually drop this hand down to the side. When I come up to reveal the card, that's when the switch happens. So it happens at the exact same moment. I'm literally just dropping this arm down. It's coming up and underneath the coat. Now, you don't want to bring the coat back this way, because then the spectator, when you do that, the spectator is they're gonna see some movement happening here, right? But if the coat is here and I bring my hand up and underneath, there's not too much movement going on this side, so they're not really going to have anything to see. And again, the coat is kind of covering everything. Now, if you're a magician that doesn't really wear a coat, the holdout is going to be sticking out a little bit. So the fix for this is simply to wear maybe a nice button-up shirt or a shirt that's a little bit longer, and it can cover your back pocket. As long as that shirt covers your back pocket, you'll be able to cover the deck that's in the holdout. Now, I'm not going to have time to teach you guys the entire mini deck routine, but I can show you how I was able to transform a miniature deck of cards into a full-size deck of cards. So you're going to need a gimmick to do this. You can either find this gaff card online, or you can make it yourself, right? So what it is it's a single joker with, it looks like mini cards on the back, right? See if I can show this in a way that you guys can see it. There we go. So it looks like miniature cards. This sits on the top of the deck, just like this, right? So now watch what happens when I spread these cards out. You see if I can angle this so that the light isn't going to be nice to me right now, I don't think.
Which card is okay?
This way, maybe. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. There we go. So there we go. Okay, that's it. So when I spread the cards out, right, it looks like I'm spreading a bunch of miniature cards, when in reality, it's the regular deck. It's just turned sideways. So I'm actually spreading it. Here we go. I'm actually spreading it this way, right? And then with the gimmick on the top, you can create that illusion. Now, in order to transform the deck, right, I have the miniature cards spread out just like this. All I'm going to do is just close the deck and then turn it over while I blow this way. So I can show miniature cards. And now I can show a full-size deck of cards. So even if you don't do the full mini deck routine the way that I do it, even just saying, look, guys, I have a miniature deck of cards here, and then doing the spread, and then you can even just do that move as long as you have that gimmicked card to be able to do it. Now, the reason that the gimmick is a joker is so that you can clean up the deck. All you have to do is just go through and say, you know what, we don't need the jokers, and then take the two jokers out and put them in your pocket. And now the deck is clean. It could be handed out. It could be examined, anything that you want. Now, like I said, I taught 5 full-length routines using this deck switching holdout. I actually just developed another routine. Let me see if I can find it here. I just developed another routine. This isn't in print anywhere yet, but I thought that I'd show you guys anyway, just to get another idea of what you can do with mini deck, or excuse me, with the switcheroo deck holdout. So you show a deck of cards, right? And you can actually cut the deck in half. So you have 2 halves here. And you can ask the spectator which half do they want. And this isn't a magician's choice. There's no equivocate. It legitimately is a free choice. They can choose this one or they can choose this one. It doesn't matter. Let's just say they chose this one here. The rest of the cards, I'll hand them the deck that they chose. The rest of the cards, I'm going to go ahead and give them a mix and a shuffle. They're going to do the same, and then I'm going to explain to them. I want you to look at any card here that you want. Okay, just try not to think of a joker. Think of any card. Okay, you guys got one? And you can do it at home too if you want. Anybody that's watching this can think of a card, right? This should work through the camera, right? And then what you'll do is you'll take the card out of here, the one that they're thinking of, just like this, and then toss it into the stack that they're holding in their hands, right? So now when you go through, you spread the cards, you can have them for the card that they were thinking of, right? And the card that they were thinking of should now be in this stack.
Yeah.
And since you're using the switcheroo, you can switch the packet, right? And you can have another packet here that's not going to have their card in it. You can show the cards. Everything can be examined. You can hand the deck out, and they can shuffle everything. And it's a completely ordinary deck of cards. There's no duplicates or anything like that. Now, all this is my version of the princess card trick. If you guys have never heard of this before, the most common way that this is performed is that there's 5 cards up on the screen, and the magician takes all 5 cards away, says that he's going to remove your card, and then puts 4 cards back up on the screen. Now your card is gone. Well, the way that this works is that the 4 cards that he puts back up on the screen are all completely different. But since you only focused on 1 card, you don't realize that. That's essentially what this is here. All I've done is taken 26 cards out of the deck of cards, and I found the 26 mates that it belongs to from another deck, and I stuck those 2 halves together. So there's really only 26 selections in this deck, but there's 52 cards in here. So I created a short card here, a joker, right? I just trimmed the corner. I trimmed it very exaggerated for this video. Normally you wouldn't trim it this high, of course. That way I can cut exactly in half. And it doesn't matter which half the spectators choose because all the same cards are in both halves of the deck. So you hand them 1 half, right? You have them shuffle it. It doesn't matter. They can shuffle it as much as you want. And then in the half that you're holding, you tell them to look at and memorize any card here. And you can do this with multiple people. You can have like 3 or 4 people choose a card. Mime taking the cards out and throwing them. And then, again, your hand that's holding the deck is just casually fall to your side, and you're going to say, go ahead and look through the deck that you're holding and see if your card is in there. And at that moment, you're going to do the deck switch using the switcheroo gimmick. And now you're going to switch it for the rest of the deck. So now this is the other half of the deck. They're going to find their card in the stack that you gave them. You're going to show the stack that you're holding again, and you're going to say that, do you see your card in here? They'll say no. You can hand them the entire deck assembled, and it's a regular deck at this point. Now you can go into your routine or whatever you want to do. So there's a ton of different ideas and things that you guys can do using the switcheroo deck holdout. So I hope that you guys liked that. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you want to make your own at home, you're more than welcome to do that. If you want to purchase the switcheroo deck holdout that's made out of leather, I have those available on the website as well. And we're going to have links to both myself and Matthew's online store at the very end too. Now, last but not least, I wanted to go over my newest product that has come out, and this is my manga book test. Now, this is a book test routine using any book. The book can be borrowed. I specifically like to use manga when I'm doing this book test. So for those of you who are not familiar, it's just the Japanese graphic novels. But I want to make it clear, you do not have to use manga. You can use any novel. My wife really likes this series. I just happened to grab The Magician because I thought that it was very suiting for this lecture. But this is a completely ordinary book that that she bought. I think she got this at like Barnes & Noble or Borders or wherever she got it from a while back. So I'll try to perform this through the screen so you guys can see. But I want you guys to see that it really is, you know, I don't know if you guys can, let me do it this way again. Sorry, like my lighting is terrible. Maybe the closer I go. But you guys can see that like all the pages are different, right?
Yeah.
Just like, so Alex, I'm
Yes.
going to flip the pages just like this. All you have to do is just say stop whenever you want, okay?
Stop.
Now, I want you to know, Alex, that this is a completely fair choice of where to stop. Do you want to stop here, or would you like to keep going?
I want to stop here.
You want to stop here? All right, I'm not going to look, okay? Alex, tell me if you can see the first word on this page here.
Yes, I can.
You can see it okay? Memorize that word?
Yes, it's good.
And I'm going to close the book. Focus on that word, Alex.
Yeah.
Word starts with the letter T. Is that true?
Is it?
And it ends with an S, I think, right?
Yes.
Was it thanks?
Yes, is it?
So really super simple. Now, a lot of you guys are probably familiar with the riffle force. So like if you did a riffle force with a deck of cards, let's just say I wanted to force the 10 of diamonds here. I would simply have a pinky break. And then when you say stop anywhere you want, I would stop at that point, pick up the packet, and then just show you the card that was below the pinky break that I was holding, right? That's the standard riffle force. Now what I did was I applied that same logic to a riffle force using a book. Now the standard riffle force using a book is to insert your pinky in, and then when the spectator says stop, to just open the book at the pinky break and to open the pages here, and now I force the page. That's the standard way to do it. The thing that I didn't like about that, though, was that what if the spectator wasn't happy with that spot and they wanted me to keep going? What I would have to do is close the book again and start all over. So what I did was I came up with a way to do this so that I can riffle the pages, they can say stop, and then I can give them the option to continue riffling or not if they want. So let's take a look at how that works. Rather than using a pinky break to do this, rather than inserting my pinky in here, I'm using a first finger break. I'm using my index finger at the top of the page just like this, right? So my index finger is inserted in here. So the way that I get into this position is as I'm showing you the pages, I'm just looking for a word that I want to memorize and force at you. As I got that word, so on this page here, the word is, oh, sorry. The word is, yeah, let me show you this way. Gold, right?
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my index finger here, and I'm going to keep flipping as I'm just showing you, right? But my index finger is holding that break now. And I'm just going to keep flipping as I'm showing you, you know, all of the words are different. I close the book, and now I'm ready to do the force. So I'm going to do the force from, and I'm going to exaggerate it a little bit. You usually don't want to keep it open too much, but I'm going to open it up so you guys can see. As I riffle like this, Alex, you just say stop.
Stop.
Right there. Perfect. Now, I did not stop at the page that has gold as the force word. I stopped at a random page. Now, let's just say Alex was happy there and he wanted to stop. All I have to do is just let go of all the pages, and my index finger is already marked the page that is going to force the word gold. Let me see if I can do it. There we go. Gold right here, right?
Yeah.
Now, same thing. Let's just say I'm riffling, and Alex says stop.
Stop.
Right there?
Yes.
So let's just say you are not happy with that spot, and you want to
I am not happy.
It's okay. I want you to be happy, Alex, so I'll keep going. And then same thing. They say stop again, and that's it. And then you just let go of everything.
Nice.
Now you're at that page. So this is, I like to call this the first finger break force. I haven't seen too many magicians using it. I see a lot of magicians using the pinky break method, which is just fine. But like I said, you lose that ability to give your spectator the opportunity to say stop or not when you're doing this. Now, I like to use manga when I'm performing these routines for a few reasons. Number one, it's an interesting book. It's a comic book, right? So my whole story is kind of like a nostalgia-based one, so I like to introduce the comics. Another thing is that it's a Japanese-style book, so it's actually flipped. When you're reading the book, you read the book. Well, let me find an actual page. There we go. You read the book from right to left. So you read it this way and down and then this way, right? So there's a lot of fun peaks and things that you can do using this. But there's one technique in particular that I wanted to show you that I really like. And you don't have to use manga for this. I want to make that clear. You can use an ordinary book. I'm going to show you the method first. But for this, I don't want you guys to think that I'm peeking. So I am going to blindfold myself. Okay? Alex, are you with me? Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Can you see me?
Yes.
I can't see you, so here we go, okay? Alex, I'm going to flip through the pages like this. All you have to do is just say stop at any time that you want, okay?
Okay, stop.
Right there. Alex,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I forgot to check the orientation of the book at the beginning. Am I holding the book the right way?
No.
It's upside down?
Yes.
It is? Okay, sorry. How about now? Is it facing the right way?
Yes.
Can you see it okay?
Yeah.
Can you see the top right corner
Can
here?
you
In
take
the
it a
panel?
little bit closer, please?
A little bit closer. There. Can you see okay?
Yes, I see it.
Perfect. Look in this top right corner at this panel where I'm tapping my finger. Is there a dialogue bubble there with some words that you can read?
Yes, there is one word.
There's okay. That's fine. That's fine. Look at that word and memorize it then.
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm going to close the book, okay? And
Okay.
those of you guys watching at home, please also look at that word and memorize it just in case Alex forgets. Alex, I know you're not going to forget, right?
I don't gonna forget. I love it.
Perfect. All right. I'm going to close the book now. And I'm going to go ahead and take off my blindfold just so I can see you beautiful people. Alex, the word that you are thinking of, it's not really a word. I think it's like a number. Is that true? Like a number written out?
Like name?
It's not
No.
a number?
No.
Because I'm thinking you saw like the number 55. You didn't see the number 55?
I don't see any number. I just look at the word. Sorry.
What was the name? Do you remember?
Yes.
What was it?
Golduck.
Gold Duck.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a Pokemon character's name.
Yeah.
You know that Pokemon have numbers, right? Did you know this?
Yes, I know. I do know it.
You do know. You guys can do this at home if you want. Do a Google search real quick, right? And I don't want you to think I'm cheating. Do a Google search for Pokemon 55.
I do know this is a good one.
Right? And try to do it on my, there we go. Try to do it on the screen there. Golduck is the Pokemon that comes up, Pokemon number 55.
Yeah.
So obviously I forced the word Golduck, but how did I do it? So I used a really interesting technique that I developed called the gravity riffle force. And there's a few different ways to do this. I'm just going to show you guys the two most common. The first thing you need to do is break the spine of the book that you're going to do this with at the page that you want. So if you look, let me try to get this even here. There we go. If you look, you'll see that I actually folded back the spine at this page. That's the word that you looked at and memorized, right, Alex?
Yes.
Over here?
Yeah.
There we go. So what that allows me to do is open the book right away at that page, right? Boom. And it's just going to open to that page every single time. Because even if I drop the book like on the table and it just opens naturally, I'll try to do it. There we go. You see it just opens to that page naturally.
Yes.
So what that means is I can riffle like this and you can say stop anytime you want. Right? There, let's just say you stop there. All I have to do is just open the book like this and it's going to open it to the page. Now, I don't like that too much because there's a lot of motion going on here. Whipping the page open like this and having to open this hand and stuff, it creates a lot of motion. So I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to accidentally riffle force the page upside down? So I riffle, they say stop, and then I'll say, go ahead and look here. And they'll say, no, it's upside down. I'll go, oh, I'm sorry, here. Go ahead and look. Is it right side up now?
Yeah.
And in that action, I'm actually opening to the page. So let's look at that real quick. All you have to do is just riffle past the page that you want to force. If I riffle and stop before the page isn't going to open because I'm holding it with my hand, right? But if I riffle past that page and I go like this, you see how this is the force page here, how it opens?
Yes.
Right? So what I do is I stop and I say, go ahead and look at the word. And a lot of times they'll even correct me because I'll be blindfolded when I do this. And they'll say, I can't. The book is upside down. And then all I'm going to do is just let go, readjust my grip, and open to the force page when I flip the book around. And then I'll say, is it facing the right way now? Right? Now, if you don't want to wear the blindfold, you can still do this. You just very casually say stop whenever you want. Right there. Oh, I'm sorry. It's upside down. My fault. Here, go ahead, and then boom, and then you're done. And like I said, you can do this with a regular book if you wanted to. Now, I didn't break the back of this book because my wife will kill me if I do it. But same thing, I have the Magician here, right? Ordinary book. Let's just pretend like I gimmicked it, right? So same thing, I could flip through like this, right? I'll say, go ahead and look at this word, and they'll say it's upside down. I'll go, oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Here, go ahead and look at this word, and then you just open to the force page, and now you can tell them exactly what word they're looking at.
Nice.
And if you really wanted to, you can have them look at a word and memorize the page number, and then you can toss multiple books out to the audience. You can say, open to that same page and look at the first word on that page, and you can read multiple spectators' minds at once. So these are just a couple of the techniques. There's like over 20 techniques now in the manga book test. So I recommend you guys check this out. This is pretty much my complete work on an impromptu book test. The routines that are taught in there are going to use manga specifically. But again, you don't have to use manga. You can use any book with like 90% of the techniques that I'm going to teach you in there. There's basic mentalism techniques. I actually just added a lot of material to that page now. That's the other cool thing. So once you buy this, you're set. You don't have to keep buying it over and over again. You just buy this one time, and I'm going to keep adding new material as it comes along. But what I did was I just added a routine where you can actually hand out a book for examination that's a Japanese book. They won't be able to read it here because everything is in Japanese. You're going to do a book switch, kind of like the switcheroo that I just showed you, but with a book. And then you're going to do like a Rosetta Stone kind of thing. So you're going to say stop. They're going to look. You're going to hypnotize them, and they're going to be able to read the book. And they're going to be able to choose a word, and then you're going to divine that word from them. And at the end, you snap them out of it, and you hand them the book back. And then when they go through it, it's all in Japanese, and they're not able to read any of it. So that's a fun routine that I just added. But in order to not go on too much longer, I would love to show you guys so many more techniques and things like that. But I think I'm going to go ahead and end my segment at this spot as well. And then I think it's probably a good time, Alex, to go ahead and start the Q&A segment.
Yes, thank you so much for all of this. Thank you to both of you. Thanks, Matthew, and thanks, Michael, for this awesome lecture. It was very interesting. Oh, I got the song on the stream. So yes, we didn't have so much question in the chat. A lot of people just watched and was like, oh, wow, it's amazing. I think we will have a lot more questions during the replay. So if you are actually watching the replay, you can come and ask a question on the International Magic Club group or directly to Michael and Matthew on Facebook. So, but actually I prepared some questions. Mainly the stream was about linking rings. So the question I had is, actually linking rings have a very old image in magic. It's really classic, the stage, the giant rings linking and unlinking, and very boring. A lot of people, when they see linking rings, they are, okay, let's take my phone, go to pee, and come back in 5 minutes. But actually your version is really good. How do you come to linking rings, actually?
Very good. Matthew, do you wanna go first on this one?
Yeah, I mean, there's a very rich history with the linking rings. First of all, I think we need to give credit to Shutagawa from Wizards Inn and Masahiro Yanagida, who came up with the ninja rings back in 2004 and really brought the moves, really making them a lot more precise. For me, it was about variety. I wanted to link other objects, so I linked, as you saw from the videos, you've seen all the different objects are there. And for me, it keeps it fresh, and then the other ideas have come on from there. The Ninja Fusion, the idea I had in the first place was the golden key. The idea that you have a key and you can move the end down slowly and pass it out for examination. And that was my sort of starting point. I wanted something like that to happen with the rings. And then with Brian Caswell came up with the object has to be the ball to go on. And then obviously all the different performers have worked on it with Michael as well to make it the effect that it is now.
So for me, my first introduction to the linking rings was seeing Shutagawa perform ninja rings. I immediately fell in love with it. I grabbed a set of close-up linking rings myself and started learning the Shutagawa, the routine the way Shutagawa performs it. And I actually performed it like that for quite a while. I made some minor adjustments here and there. Eventually, the 4-ring routine that I perform has become known. I like to call it Ninja Rings Abridged, because I took pretty much the long 3-4 minute routine that Shutagawa did, and I condensed it into a 1 minute long routine that could be examined by the spectators. There's lots of moments of interaction and things like that, so that it didn't feel like it was dragging on too much. And also, again, it makes it nice that the spectators can kind of handle the rings and touch everything and feel like they're being involved. And then when I saw Ninja Plus by Matthew Garrett, I thought, wow, this is super cool. Like, I can actually link other objects. I can take off my wedding band, link that on. I can hand that out even to be examined, and I jumped right on that. And when I first purchased Ninja Plus, I don't even think Volume 2 was out yet. I think when I first purchased it, Volume 1 was the only information that was available. And just Volume 1 alone is enough to really get you started in performing this routine and doing so many things. And then, as Matthew has told me before, he said, you know, Volume 1 was the only thing I was planning to release with it. And then I added more and more over time, and then it grew and grew and grew. And now there's 4 volumes just on Ninja Plus, and each DVD teaching, I want to say, a minimum of like 30 techniques, and each DVD is about an hour to an hour and a half long. And then I added my sessions DVD to it, teaching even more material. There's original material by myself on here, and kind of my variations on the stuff that Matthew had already taught in volumes 1 through 4. So there's a lot of really cool stuff there with the rings. And like I said, I fell in love with the linking rings when I first saw it back in 2005, I believe I first saw Ninja Rings, maybe 2006. And fell in love with that routine, and I've pretty much been performing linking rings ever since.
Nice. Nice. Thank you for those answers. And yes, both of you tell about Shutagawa linking rings, which is absolutely great. I saw Shutagawa in lecture last year, and he take me to make his linking rings routines, and it was so amazing when he made both rings link in my hand. It's so mind-fucking. So great. I have another question that come from Florian Garrett in the chat long time ago. He said that he's actually practicing Mesado rings. Actually, Mesado have very famous in magician linking rings routine. He saw it a lot. But is it cardistry, and Mesado is more like ringistry? What do you think about this kind of linking rings routine? Let's start with Michael. So, yeah.
Personally, I think it's awesome. I mean, when you can take like cardistry, for example, it was basic flourishes for the longest time. You know, doing simple things like this, and you know, even cutting and shuffling the cards with one hand, and it sort of spun off into its own thing, and more people kind of added their own ideas to it, and now it's become its own art. There are so many, especially the younger generation of, if you want to call them magicians, or if you want to call them cartisans, or whatever the term is that they like to use, you know, and they're so passionate about it. I think what Masato did with the linking rings was take that same idea and split off from the classic linking rings, sort of in the same way that Matthew Garrett did. Now, Matthew Garrett went in a direction of linking other objects to keep things interesting. And what Masato did was took it from just linking and unlinking rings, almost to like a martial art of sorts, you know, doing a lot of flashy moves and things like that. I think it was really cool. And obviously a lot of people started learning the linking rings because they saw Joshua Masato's take on the linking rings. So if you're a fan of Masato's work, I think you'll really enjoy Matthew Lamatte's work on Ninja Plus, because Matthew Lamatte took a lot of that same kind of stuff. He likes to call it extreme linking rings, and a lot of airborne moves and stuff, some of the craziest things that you'll ever see using the linking rings as well. So do I think that ringistry is a cool and fun thing? of course, as long as you're enjoying the linking rings, and if it's making more magicians, especially like I said, the younger generation, if it's making them excited about doing the linking rings, then I'm all for it.
Nice. And for you, Matthew?
I think Michael's covered most of the points there, to be fair. Yeah, it's a very different direction. For me, the focus is on magic, keeping the frame very small, and variety. I guess for Joshua, it's more on flourishes. Yeah, and a different way of presenting the magic. So we've each gone in very different directions. Mine's to use very small objects and link through, such as the polo mints. His is to use flourishes.
Nice. Actually, yes, let's make last questions. I think after this lecture and this whole live stream, some people will want to start making linking rings magic. If you have only one tips to give to these people who just start linking rings, what is it?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
I think to start performing straight away. A lot of people don't take the rings out. You buy magic props and people leave them in the cupboard. All of this material is designed to be used straight away. So start performing. And then once you've got the set and you are going to perform, just learn the crash link. Remember that technique from the very beginning of having the gap by the little finger. So there's no finger motion. Start with a very, very easy start and perform it straight away. That's my top tip.
Thank you. And you, Michael?
Honestly, I want to branch off that a little bit. So one thing that a lot of people have told me when I'm doing my variation on Ninja Plus and my whole ring routine and with the bar blade and all that stuff, people say to me like, wow, that's incredible. That's like so many like awesome moments happening, blah, blah, blah. Like I'd never be able to do that. And my response is, well, of course you'll be able to do it. Now, will you be able to do my routine exactly the way I performed it right out of the gates? Maybe not. You will have to learn a bunch of different techniques and choreograph them in a way that they all flow through each other. But one thing that you can do is start off super basic and start performing, like Matthew said. So like one example, if I can find what I do. I have a mess over here. Oh, I think it's in my pocket. There we go. One thing that you can learn is how to link and unlink the Ninja Plus gimmick just like this, right? Now I'm using the solid gimmick and the duplicate finger ring, of course. If you just learn how to do that, you already have a routine together, because the routine can go like this. I have a finger ring here. Go ahead and examine that ring. It's solid. I have another solid ring here. Go ahead and examine that one as well. Is that solid too? Is there any way that that's going to come off? No, it's not going to come off. Watch. And there you have a routine. And you just had to learn this. You know, so it could be something super basic like that. You perform that for people and you get comfortable performing the linking rings for people. And then behind the scenes at home, you're learning more and more things. Then once you get more comfortable with those things, then you add those bits to the routine that you're already performing. So now you have, you know, you've already linked the Ninja Plus gimmick and you've been working on your crash link and you feel comfortable with it. Now you can start doing this part of the routine. And then you hand that back out, they examine it, you take that off, and now you have your finger ring back on your finger again. So my biggest piece of advice is honestly just like exactly what Matthew said. Perform start small, start with what you're comfortable with, start with the basics, perform that, and then you can start adding to it later, because you're not going to get any better performing the linking rings unless you're performing the linking rings. And like Matthew said, if you buy this and you watch the whole DVD and you expect that you have to learn everything before you start performing it, you're going to get overwhelmed and you're just going to end up with the rings collecting dust in your drawer. So put together a basic routine, perform it for people, and then behind the scenes, build on that routine. And the next thing you know, you're going to be performing a 6-minute linking ring routine like Matthew and I are, and people are going to be telling you it's the most amazing linking ring routine they've ever seen in their life.
Thank you for this answer. Actually, I will have a last question, but very simple question. I already know the answer, but just say it for the people. You show us a lot of props, a lot of creation, a lot of things during this 2-hour stream. Where can we find this? Where can we buy this?
No, no one's selling it. No, it's
We
not
don't sell it.
available.
Okay, stop. Let's stop here.
Yeah, no. So if you're in this side of the pond, if you're in the England side, so anywhere in Europe, please go to my website, which is professionalmagic.com. You will see the product section there, and you'll find all of the products available. So you'll find all of my series with the Ninja Plus, Ninja Fusion. You'll also find Michael O'Brien's sessions. You'll find the ring and bottle. And on top of that, you'll find the fan that I showed earlier in my lecture and the Monty the Spirit DVD as well. If you live the other side of the pond, so if you're America, Canada, Michael, would you like to explain?
So if you live over here on, as Matthew said, on my side of the pond, if you live in Canada or the United States or North, South America, you're more than welcome to order from my website, which is obrienmagic.com. And I know that we're going to be putting links and things on the International Magic Club's group, so you can see all that. You guys don't have to memorize it right now. They'll have it there. You can just click the link, and then you can find the online store. I have the online magic shop on my page. Matthew has the product page on his. The things that I'm selling, in addition to what we've already talked about, the Ninja Sessions, I also have all of the ring sets that Matthew is selling as well. I have multiple books, like my Imagination Project book here. I have volumes 1 and 2, each book all containing my complete working material, not just linking ring stuff. This is everything: cards, coins, sponge balls, a little bit of mentalism, all kinds of stuff. Of course, my manga book test is there. I have a whole bunch of downloads there as well, and just a bunch of stuff for you to check out. I also partnered with Josh Zandman on Josh Zandman's book test. So I have Alice in Wonderland, The Christmas Carol, and oops, sorry, I did that backwards. Here we go. Alice in Wonderland. Here we go. Christmas Carol, and The Time Machine book test, all by Josh Zandman. You can order them individually, or you can purchase the bundle, and you can get all of them. And if you purchase the bundle, I will throw in the manga book test for free, doing that as well. But feel free to visit my website. Feel free to visit Matthew's website. Both of us have a ton of awesome products for you guys. We both carry the same Ninja Plus range, and you're going to get the same price, but you might save yourself a little bit of money in shipping costs if you order from Matthew, like he said, if you're on the European side, and if you order from myself, if you're on the North American side.
Thank you. So thank you for this. So yes, of course, I will drop the link inside the International Magic Club group after. We'll make special publication for each of your shop. So thank you, Matthew, and thank you, Michael, for being with us tonight. Thank you for this awesome lecture, this awesome stream, those awesome things, not strings. Thank you for all of this. Thank you for being here from the starting, to all the viewers, to all the people who watch the replay. Don't forget, go on the International Magic Club group if you want to share anything with Michael and Matthew, if you want to see their shop. And thank you to Reborn team. Reborn is a YouTube channel where you're actually watching the live. You can go and check all the videos, thanks to Hugo actually here, who is our live technician. Without him, we can't make the live. Well, thank you for being here for more than 2 hours, actually. We will let you. Do you have any final word to say, Matthew, Michael?
Well, we need to thank you very much for letting us come on here, and you've been a great host. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you guys so much for allowing us to do this. And thank you to everyone in the International Magic Club for having us and for tuning in. Whether you tuned into the live stream here or if you're tuning into the rewatch, we really appreciate you. And again, if you guys have any questions, I will check periodically. So if you want to drop a comment or two on the International Magic Club page, I'm sure Matthew as well, periodically we'll check and answer some of your questions. But if you guys want, you're more than welcome to reach out to us both directly as well, whether it be on Facebook or find our website and email us or whatever you want, and we'll be more than happy to help you guys out and answer your questions.
Well, so thank you for watching all of this, and now it's time to living. Goodbye.